here, they're with these big stones everywhere. They're not from the Roman times, they're Bulgarian streets from the second Bulgarian kingdom, 12th or 13th century. One of the oldest names of Plovdiv, it was Philippopolis. Because the first big empire that conquered the lands here, it was the Great Macedonian Empire, the Greeks, and Philip II of Macedonia. Philip is the father of Alexander the Great. He was the emperor, and he conquered these lands here in 4th century before Christ. 341st, 342nd year BC, before Christ. He is the founder of the first town here. It was perfect place for a town between three hills, like a natural fortress, very well protected, and in the same time very near to the big river, Marica, with water. Always it's important, of course. And the first Philippopolis and the Greeks, the Romans, they came here much later, 500 years after the Greeks. In 1st century after Christ. The first Roman emperor here, it was Trajan. And the Romans, they changed the name of Philippopolis to Trimontium. Trimontium means between three mountains. Again, the same reason, because it's between three hills, I told you already. The Bulgarian name of Plovdiv comes from the word plot. On our Bulgarian language, plot means fruit, just fruits, any kind of fruit. And Plovdiv means land rich of fruits, because it's one of the best areas for agriculture in Bulgaria. Here it's a valley, not many valleys in Bulgaria. Bulgaria it's mainly mountain country. Balkan, like Balkan Peninsula in our local Bulgarian language, means mountain. It's a mountain peninsula. We have 41 different mountains in Bulgaria. Of course, few of them more famous, like Rila, Pirin, Vitušin, Sofia, Rodopi mountain here. But we have many, not so many valleys. Plovdiv, it's part of the Thracian valley. The Thracians, I told you, they were the local people here before everybody else. And here, the next 45 minutes, 1 hour, I will show you many of typical houses from Bulgarian houses from the Ottoman period, from this region, from the Thracian Valley. Most of them, they looks like here the yellow house, but much bigger. This is just the first one here. And the houses, they're always similar style. They're mainly from 18th and 19th century. Usually the first floor it's a little bit smaller, because in the old days the town it was small, and when there are two houses from the both sides of a narrow street, they built the first floor smaller to have enough space for a horse car, for example, and after that, because they need from a lot of space, every next floor bigger and bigger. Very often the roofs, they just touching each other. And also the second reason, less piece of land for the first floor, less taxes. In the old days, they paid taxes to the Ottoman Empire. Let's walk slowly. Always there with different towers and without balconies. No balconies. Because it was very typical for us in the old days to live big families, different generations in one house. Very often more than 20-25 people in one house. And still in the countryside of Bulgaria, very often the village people, they live like this. Not 20, but few generations in one house. And they need from a lot of bedrooms. This is the reason that it's without balconies. Not enough space for all outdoor. Everything it's inside. By the way, Plovdiv is one of the hottest places in Bulgaria. Always here it's warmer, between 5 and 10 degrees warmer compared with Sofia. Summer, winter, always. Summer when in Sofia it's 29, here it's 40. Winter in Sofia it's -10, here it's +2, something like that. But always it's warm. This is also the reason that it's so good for agriculture. It's flat, valley. By the way, the average altitude of Plovdiv is 50 meters above the sea level. 50. When we are on the top of the hills, it's 150 meters only. Compared with Sofia, that it's 600 meters. It's so different. Sofia, very high in the mountain. We can stop also in a few churches here. we are 10 minutes from one very beautiful church, St. Constantine and Helena Church. But if you like churches, the best, probably many of you are already been there, one of the best it's Etrile Monastery. Because for us, for the Orthodox Christians, the monasteries, they're more special, more powerful, more spiritual places than the normal churches into the cities. We believe that up into the monasteries, usually they're into the mountains, we're closer to the gods. And they're more powerful, more spiritual places, and usually the most beautiful churches are built and painted into the monastery, not only Rila. We have many, like Bačkovo Monastery here near to Plovdiv in Rudopy Mountain, Trojan Monastery in North Bulgaria. And usually the most beautiful churches, they're inside into the monastery. The old town here, it's without many locals. It's like a town museum. All of the houses, all of the places, they're museums. Just the house museums, or inside with kind of different museums like historical museum, ethnographic museum, or art galleries, some kind of museums. The locals, they're from the other side. In the end of the tour, I will leave you there from the other side. It's like in Sofia, pedestrian street, shops, restaurants. There is the real city center. Here, everything, it's like a museum, open air museum for the tourists. The old town. Later, if you want to visit some of the museums, in your free time, I will show you a shortcut to the old town. And when you're alone, if you want, you can come back again and to buy tickets and to visit some of the houses from inside. It's your choice. Yes, it's better. There is just this.
House of Nicolan.
Come here just for a second.
So you're saying these are all original stones as they laid many years ago?
The stones here, yes, they're original, but not from the Roman times. They're from the second Bulgarian kingdom, which is between 12th and 14th century. Probably the roads here, they are somewhere from the beginning of 13th. Like also the gate. Can you see the arc there, the gate? Also it's from the second Bulgarian kingdom, the end of 12th, beginning of 13th century. But here also, it's not only the entrance. You can see two of the most popular houses here. The red one and the gray one. In the red one nowadays it's the local historical museum. In the gray one, which is a house from 1847 from the middle of 19th century, it's the local ethnographic museum. And you can see for what kind of size we talk about, giant houses. Very often, many of these houses, they're with more than 25-30 bedrooms inside. They're very big houses, and in the old days, the owners, they were very rich businessmen. In the old days, 18th and 19th century, the richest people in Bulgaria, they were from here, from Plovdiv. Because Plovdiv, it's on the way to the capital of the Ottoman Empire, Constantinople. I told you, for Via Militaris. And usually, all of the tourists also, they stop here for a rest in Trimontium on the way to Constantinople. And also, they made a business trade with Constantinople, with the capital of the Ottoman Empire. And also in the old days, something that is interesting, it was important, the color of the houses. And the color of the houses means how rich is the owner. And it was like a not official rules, but in the old days everybody followed the rules. And the red and brown houses are the richest people. After the gray, blue, yellow and white houses, the poorest people. We're not exactly sure from where it's the beginning of everything. Probably it was from the price of the paint. Without pigment, without color, it was the cheapest and the darker colors and pigments more expensive. But for them it was very important and they wanted to show in the old days how rich are they. And they painted in different colors. Again, for the foreigners usually when they walk around, just to know, it was popular here. You can see how the grey house, it was in 19th century. It was built over the walls the walls are from 13th century. Every next civilization they built over and over the others. Like here it's the same. On the ground first are the Thracians, after the Greeks, the Romans, and now here it's the Bulgarian town of PLODIV. This is the main entrance, the eastern gate. You can take your photos here because from the other side it's the western gate. It was destroyed many years ago and nowadays it's without gate. It's just nothing there, just one door. But here you can and when you're closer to the gate, take a look on the right because this small street between two of the houses, and you can see for what I talk about, the second floor and the roofs, they're so close to each other, of the gray and the red house. Also something interesting, in the old days, always the residential area, it was the second and the third floor, or the first, I mean not the ground floor. Here the ground floor, always it was for some kind of business. If they have a shop, it was the shop. If they have a factory, it was a factory. For example, the grey house, in different periods, first it was a vinegar factory, after that it was factory for hats, for the ladies like yours. Factory here, yeah. Always, and the residential area, it's after the first, the second, the third floor, never the ground floor.
Museum ấy.
快啦，快啦，啲 A 面要做啊，啲面啊。
By the way, the gate here, it was built on the same place over the Roman gate. It was here again, but the Bulgarians in 13th century, they built over the Roman gate.
Ni tao mới like đó. Sorry. Bagpipe, by the way, it's also traditional folklore instrument, not only in Scotland, also here in Bulgaria, especially from Rhodope Mountain. Now we are very near to the Rhodope Mountain. Maybe it's a different sound, probably it's produced from different materials, but the base is the same. By the way, this small square here, in the old days it was the city center, the central square. This was marketplace, weekend time, the central square. Now we can take a look first behind these walls, because the Ethnographic Museum is a very beautiful house. For me, it's the most beautiful house, and let's take a look there to take your photos. And after we can move behind the other walls. There is the Church of Saints Constantine and Helena, also very beautiful thing here.
You can see, like what I talk about, the first floor, it was a factory. After the residential area, it's up there, the second floor. Always in the middle, with a lot of windows next to each other for sunlight, for daylight. It's the living room, the daily room, the dinner room, and everywhere behind and left, right from the living room, there are many different bedrooms.
This is typical Ottoman or Egyptian.
This is a typical, because the owners they were Bulgarians, but from the Ottoman period. Because we have a lot of and the houses here they were built in the 19th century. Like a miracle that we kept everything our identity and survival. This is a Bulgarian local ritual for the month March. Always on 1st of March, we share this kind of present.
Цяла кола с филм. И там се браха. Няма...
Before the religion.